Hello and welcome to another edition of the special magazine program Around the Niger Delta, where we look into the current trends shaping the region. Do stay with us as we explore the dynamic cultural, economic and political as well as environmental landscape of this very vibrant region. Opinions of experts and locals are also analyzed on the opportunities and challenges facing the Niger Delta region today. Do stay tuned, of course, for an insightful and informative journey through one of Nigeria's most fascinating regions. I am your host, Ikechukwu Juwe. Welcome. On this edition of the program, President Tinubu launches reforms to turbocharge Nigeria's oil and gas power sector, attract global investors. Edo State government launches emergency medical services for improved service delivery. Governor Seyi Makinde urges unity within the People's Democratic Party ahead of the Ondo governorship election. And on the development story, former media campaign officer in the campaign council of Young Progressives Party in Akwa Ibom, Idorian Umana, joins the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Inspector General of Police amends terrorism charges against suspects in slain Imo Monarchs case. And on the big story, we will look at the benefits of President Tinubu's executive order in the oil and gas sector and its benefit to the Niger Delta region. Now, these are the stories making the headlines in the Niger Delta region today. Well, let's go straight and tell you the very first story that we have for you, that President Bola Tinubu has in line with his unwavering commitment to enhancing investment prospects in Nigeria and leveraging the nation's resources to foster economic diversification, undertaken policy directives aimed at bolstering the investment climate and positioning Nigeria as the perimeter destination for oil and gas investments in Africa. According to a release by the Special Advisor to the President, Media and Publicity, Chief Ajurin Galali, the President has, after due consultations, analysis and benchmarking with global counterparts, initiated legislative amendments to introduce fiscal incentives for oil and gas projects, streamline contracting processes, and enhance cost efficiency in local content requirements. To expedite investments, the President has instructed the implementation of fiscal incentives for non-associated gas midstream and deep water developments, simplification of contracting procedures to reduce the contracting timeline to 6 months, application of local content requirements to support investments without compromising cost competitiveness. The specifics of these directives will be officially announced and disseminated by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation. These incentives were formulated in collaboration with the various government bodies, including the Federal Ministry of Justice, Federal Ministry of Finance, the Federal Ministry of Petroleum and Gas, as well as others. Now, the President's Special Advisor on Energy has been tasked with continuing to coordinate with relevant stakeholders to ensure the timely implementation of these directives. And that'll take us to Edo State, where the government has launched the Edo Emergency Medical Service to boost health delivery in the state. The state governor, Godwin Obaseki, who officiated the launch, said the state government has repositioned its healthcare delivery system to support the care for all Edo people. Governor Obaseki, who noted that the Edo EMS was done in partnership with the Ministry of Health and Emergency Response Africa, also said the training of the medical emergency responders is aimed at providing support services to the healthcare sector in the state. Emergency medics reiterating the state government's commitment to saving lives. The Edo governor commended the partners of the Edo EMS initiative and called for a need to decentralize the nation's healthcare delivery system to ensure the efficacy of the primary healthcare system. He also assured of the sustainability of the initiative despite the cost. Moving to the political scene in Edo State, members of the Edo State House of Assembly have commenced an impeachment process against the state deputy governor, Philip Shaibu. Shaibu, the majority leader, Charity Ohaigborogian, who read the impeachment petition during plenary, said the petition was signed by 21 out of the 24 members against the deputy governor. Ohaigborogian, who said the petition was dated March 5, 2024, noted that the number of members who signed the petition were more than two-thirds requirement stipulated in Section 188, subsection 2A of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He said the petition was addressed to the Speaker of the House, Blessing Ogbebaku, who acknowledged the receipt of the petition and said the petition was based on two grounds which were not made public. The House, however, gave the Deputy Governor 7 days to respond to the petition. The Deputy Governor's impeachment notice might not be unconnected to the face-off with the State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, that has held him a long losing out during the just concluded People's Democratic Party gubernatorial election primaries in the state. You would also recall that Shaibu had alleged a plot to impeach him from office, claiming his governorship ambition was responsible for the plot. He was earlier elected as PDP candidate during a parallel primary election conducted in his residence in Benin City, the state capital. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has, ahead of the governorship election in November, warned against divisive tendencies as he attributed the People's Democratic Party's loss in the last election in 2020 to disunity and division within the party. Governor Makinde gave the advice while speaking at a stakeholders meeting between members of the party from Ondo State and the National Working Committee at the PDP National Headquarters, Abuja. In the meantime, acting national chairman of the party, Umar Damagum, has said the party is considering zoning and consensus as part of its strategy to win the upcoming election later this year. He therefore urged the Ondo aspirants to conduct their campaigns in an orderly manner. Confirming the issue of the consensus, the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Debo Ologunagba, explained that the National Working Committee was open to all aspirants, adding that the party will be guided by the Constitution moving forward. While the PDP has set April 25th for the primary in Ondo State, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has set November 16 as the scheduled date for the state governorship election. In a related development, an aspirant of the People's Democratic Party in the upcoming Ondo governorship election, Bamidele Akinboye, has tasked the leadership of the party to zone its ticket to Ondo South. Akinboye made this known to newsmen after the PDP National Working Committee met with stakeholders of the party from Ondo State, maintaining that zoning of the ticket to Ondo South Senatorial District as the sure path for the PDP's success, while stating that he possessed the capacity, the knowledge, the skills required to defeat the opposition in the state. Akinboye promised to give the people the best if given the mandate. Meanwhile, Olushola Abiseni, a former commissioner in the state who is seeking the ticket for the third time, expressed optimism that the stakeholders would reach an agreement on the zoning formula of the election. Now, on the developing story, the former media aid officer from the 2023 Governorship Campaign Council of the Young Progressives Party, YPP in Akwa Ibom State, Idorin Umana, has joined the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Umana and other former YPP members were welcomed by the state governor, Pastor Moino, at the government house. His defection happened shortly after the YPP governorship candidate in the state, Basi Albert, along with some YPP leaders, defected to the All Progressives Congress, APC, in less than 2 months. We will go for a short break. When we come back, we'll have the man himself, Idi Umana, talk to us about his defection. Stay tuned.
Nigeria is a great country. blessed with human and natural resources. Born on October 1st, 1960, and like a child who's grown into an adult, has faced her own share of challenges. But Nigeria has the capacity to fulfill her destiny. With great minds and great leaders, a bright future is guaranteed. Though tribes and tongues may differ, her beauty is in the diversity. Her power is in the unity. Nigeria, our country, is for you and for me. Let's make it the Nigeria of our dream. Advocate Broadcasting Network, a part of
you. So, you want to catch more of the glitz, the glam, the latest fashion, the cuisines, the rich culture from weddings, shows, parties, conferences, masterclasses, workshops, awards, festivals, and much more within and outside the Niger Delta? Join Tilly and UM on Event 360 every Saturday by 5 p.m. and a repeat broadcast on Sunday by 3 p.m. and let us take you on a journey on the trends and happenings in the event business within and outside the Niger Delta. For coverage or sponsorship, please call 070-367-07787. Events 360.
In a world of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an invocative program that touches the core of our existence.
Nigeria is a great country, blessed with human and natural resources. Born on October 1st, 1960, and like a child who's grown into an adult, has faced her own share of challenges. But Nigeria has the capacity to fulfill her destiny. With great minds and great leaders, a bright future is guaranteed. Though tribes and tongues may differ, her beauty is in the diversity. Her power is in the unity. Nigeria, our country, is for you and for me. Let's make it the Nigeria of our dream. Advocate Broadcasting Network, a part of you.
Welcome back. We had earlier talked about the developing story where I told you that after the YPP governorship candidate in the state, Basi Albert, along with some YPP members, defected to the All Progressives Congress, APC, in less than 2 months. And his loyalists and former YPP members who were with Obong Basi Albert defected to the PDP. And we have the man himself, so he can tell us firsthand, Idorin Umana. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning.
Let's begin with your decision. What informed your decision, as well as other, YPP members defecting back to the PDP?
Let me start it this way. Every politician is as strong as his support base at home. When you don't have a strong support base at home, you are not a politician. You are only maybe an urban guerrilla. You are strong in Uyo, and yet you don't have the grip of your own area. I am a leader in my own capacity. I'm a leader. I also have some people who look up to me politically. I have gone with them for so many years, and I built my political tent with Senator Basi Albert, my direct boss, who would still be my boss till tomorrow. since 2012, 13th of April 2012, 13th of April this year will make it 12 years of consistency, 12 years of loyalty, 12 years of political agreement. We have always agreed politically. He confides in me. I'm one of the closest person to him. He confides in me. Anytime he wants to take any political decision, he confides in me. And if I say do this, do that, he will also, okay, we compare notes and say, okay, let's go with this. And we have been doing that. We've been in PDP for a very long time. We kept winning elections in PDP. I have never lost, since I joined politics, I've never lost any election. I have 3 units in my village. I've never lost it. I've never lost in my local government areas. I'm always involved. And in 2015, we gone for the governorship seat. At the end, he was told to step down for Governor Emmanuel, which he did. Initially, we were not happy with the decision because having been in a politician, I've also found out that there is no political decision that will favor everybody. Everybody cannot agree with you when you take political decision. Some of us were aggrieved. Some also say, okay, we go with you, sir, when he stepped down for them. Some people were angry to the extent of leaving the party. And we stood with him. He now went for the Senate. He's been a senator. He came back in 2019. We still supported him to go for Senate. We were preparing him. He has some good leadership qualities. We were preparing him for something big for Akwa Ibom. For some of us who are close to him, we never stopped talking about his governorship progress, what he would offer Akwa Ibom politics, the political terrain. So when in 2022, it was obvious that he was not going to clinch the PDP ticket because of Governor Emmanuel and the political gimmicks as at that time. We now talked. We had a closed-door meeting, few of us who were close to him. We said, well, if we cannot achieve your dream of being the governor in the PDP, we stand by you to go to another political party. We stand by you to go to another political party. That was the option we had. We had options. We had offers from the APC. But when we talked, we said there are a lot of other warlords in the APC who are already gunning for governorship. And if you go and join them now, what is the option? So we now said, for us not to go and even be disappointed in APC, let us groom a new party. That was the YPP. YPP was in existence. We said, okay, let us take a support base to YPP. Akwa Babasi now came to YPP. He defected to YPP. We went with him all the way. And having taken that decision also did not go well with so many people. So many people who were in PDP say, we are not coming to you to YPP. Some PDP members came to him came to YPP because of him. Some APC people joined us in YPP because of him. He has some good leadership qualities, and he has been groomed. He was the commissioner for finance for 8 years, became a senator for 8 years. That's 16 years of consistency in the political terrain, and he knew the problem of Akwa Ibom people. So when we threw our weight behind him in 2022 to defect to YPP, YPP became the fastest growing party. That's how we used to coin for it because of Senator Basi Albert. And we said, we went for election, and he came too. We felt aggrieved. We went to when I say we, I was always there telling him, Oga, we have to go to YPP. We lost the election. It was true. I said we have the right to push to the court. We went to the tribunal. In one of the tribunals, they almost arrested me, but I also escaped because I think I also have I'm a card with 9 lives. I escaped that arrest, and I was still consistent. We went to tribunal. We lost at the tribunal. We went to appeal court. We lost at the appeal court. The last hope was the Supreme Court. And we went to the Supreme Court. We lost at the Supreme Court. At the Supreme Court, our lawyers were told to withdraw the case. Our lawyers, there's no lawyer who wants to err at the Supreme Court because they don't know. They know that is their constituency. The lawyers withdrew the case, and we lost at the Supreme Court. And when we came back home, as a person, if you see me, you know I am growing. I have grown. I should be able to take. I think maturity is being able to take your decision that also has other people in the decision. Whatever decision you take, if you have a majority of the people in the decision, I think it's a good decision. So when we met, before he defected to
the
APC, he called us, those of us who are few. That's one thing about him. He will not take any decision on his own. He calls those of us who are close to him. We will be defecting to APC. I said when? He said tomorrow. I said, it's okay, sir. We give you our blessing. But in that same meeting, I told him, sir, that I have made a decision that I decided for myself that after the Supreme Court judgment, I will take a personal political decision, irrespective of that will not have you in the picture again. If at the end of the day, the picture will have you, fine. But if at the end of the day, the picture does not have you, sir, that I want to decide for myself, also want to decide for those who are following me, because he called his supporters, we gave, including me, we said, you can go to APC. But when I now, the unfortunate thing is that when I now call my supporters, who are always there, those are the people who follow me to anywhere I go and win election, I now also threw it to them. My boss has gone to the APC. He has, one thing about Senator Basi Albert, he has made a national imprint. If you mention Basi Albert in Abuja, everybody knows him. That's a different political terrain. The APC is strong at the national. And I asked my people, what do we do? Do we go back to, do we follow him to APC or go back to PDP, or do we stay in YPP? They say option of staying in YPP would have been fine, but who are we staying with? YPP is not strong. In politics, there must be a boat that has some other people that you follow. You don't just do politics because you want to do politics. If you are in a ship, the ship must have a captain, and the captain must be someone who is visionary. And now say, what do we do? They say we should go back to PDP. And I told them it was going to be a tough decision. They say, if we are the ones who have been following you, if you are strong because of us, you have to do what we want. I did my own consultations. And now one day I sat down and I heard that the governor wanted to see me. I first went to the person that called me. I said, I don't want to see the governor. The governor, you saw elections, when you saw how volatile it was, you saw how violent it was, you saw how we did a lot of things. We talked and did so many things in the opposition, but the election has finished. Do I want to remain on opposition? If you want to remain on opposition, it's different, but when you want to make yourself an enemy of the state, that is what is bad. So I decided, well, for my people to satisfy them, I say, well, we will go to, when the governor sent for me, the next thing I did was I put a call across to a few stakeholders of who are around me. I now went to see them that the governor wants us to come back to PDP. Do we accept to go to, do we accept this olive branch, or do we forget it and still stay where we are? And they now ask me a question. In the national, who knows you? If you take us to the national, how will you be able to get something for us? How will we be able to benefit from the national if you go to the national, take us to APC when we don't have anybody? So it was easier to walk from the unknown to the known rather than walking from the known to the unknown.
This story is quite a lengthy story, and is one that we will take advantage of as the opportunity presents itself. But I'd like to ask, your defection to the PDP, do you think it has any impact in the political landscape in Akwa Ibom?
I think it has. That is why the whole of day before yesterday, my picture and the governor's picture was trending on Twitter, and every social media platform had me as number one, and that means I have been a major stakeholder in the politics. And going back to the PDP, is not even some of the PDP members are happy. A larger number of people are happy. ID, come back home. Congratulations, you are back home. We built the PDP since 1998. I've been in the PDP, and that was consistency. It was when my political interest was not captured again in 2023. That was why I went for the YPP. And now I said, I don't want to go to the national. Let my boss be there. I bless him. I supported him to go to the national. I know he also supports me to be in to take my political decision. He has never said no. The people who are now talking are the people who believe maybe they think I have betrayed him. I have not betrayed him. We fought a fight.
So for you, your defection carries weight.
It carries weight,
and it will give an impact in the political landscape of Akwa Ibom.
It would. It carries weight. If it did not carry weight, people will not talk about. We were about 47 people who defected, but I think I have been the most talked about person since that
defection.
Since that picture surfaced on the media space of a handshake with the governor. I know what the governor told me. The governor said he's happy. I am with him.
It's good to note this part, but let me ask you this final question. You know, they say in politics there are no permanent friends, no permanent enemies. There are indications that even if you've defected to the PDP, your loyalty still lies with your former boss.
That is a wrong perception. My boss is my boss. My boss is my boss. But my boss knows that My boss knows that I stood with him throughout the election, throughout the storm. I was with him. And now, if I am saying that I am in the PDP now, that means I have also sworn to allegiance with the governor, and I will stand with him and by him till the end.
Even if that makes you an enemy to your former boss?
I know him. That will not make me. I have only taken a political.
I'm just asking a straight question.
Okay,
even if that makes you an enemy of your former boss.
If I'm enemy to my former boss after working with him for 12 years, so be it. I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered. The way the future is me. The future has me in picture and has my family in picture. If my future political career does not have him in picture, it's not a crime.
So let us just conclude by saying you feel that it's time for you to make a move politically, and if your political move is going to cross paths with your former boss, so be it.
So be it.
Aidu Mana has been our guest this morning. Thank you so much. We'll continue to discuss about your defection because it's one of the most talked about stories in Akwa Ibom. Thank you, Aidi.
No problems. I'll be around anytime you call me. I'll like to talk with you and any other media platform. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
All right, now from ID, we'll move to other matters in the Niger Delta region. The Minister of Power, Debayo Adelabu, has announced the surplus power from the newly inaugurated geometric power plant in Abia State, and he said it will be channeled into the national grid. You'll recall that during the commissioning of the 188 megawatts plant with about 141 megawatt capacity, the minister had said that the plant benefits the benefit of the plant extends beyond Abia to the entire country. Adelabu also emphasized the integration of the project consisting of Geometric Power Aba Limited and APL Electric Company Limited, both licensed by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, to generate and distribute electricity within the Aba ring-fenced area. He further highlighted the supportive role of the government, particularly in fostering a conducive environment for Nigerian companies and ensuring adherence to the policies and regulations. Adelabu also cautioned the public against vandalism and attacks on the electricity officials, underscoring the government's commitment to monitoring the plant's performance as a potential model for enhancing Nigeria's power sector. The Mike Liobo Empowerment Foundation has distributed food items and cash gifts worth millions of naira to indigents of Tomo Kingdom in Burutu local government area of Delta State. The founder of the foundation, Chief Mike Loyibo, who made the gesture, said it's become necessary for the wealthy Nigerians to come out to rescue the needy from the harsh or hard economy. Loyibo, who is the Prime Minister of the Kingdom, also called on the people of Delta to support the more agenda of Governor Sheriff Oboweri's administration, describing him as a grassroots-oriented leader. And that'll take us to Cross River, where the monarch, the apex decision-making body of the Efute people, the Efute Combined Assembly of Cross River State, they have rejected the state Governor Basi Otu's recognition of Professor Itam Hogan Itam as the one to occupy the ancient throne. In a statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Emmanuel Ogbeche, Governor Otu directed the immediate reinstatement of Professor Itam, explaining that the decision is based on the ruling of the High Court of Cross River State in suit number HC/MSC/154/2022. Earlier, the Ben Ayade administration had given Professor Itam the staff of office as the Munene of Efforts and paramount ruler of the Calabar South. But the same government later deposed him, causing the embattled professor to approach the court for justice. The succession tussle for the traditional store of the Munene of Efforts had witnessed many court cases and physical fights since 2009, when the last occupant of the throne, Munene Ita Okokon, joined his ancestors. The Efute Combined Assembly, which has equally obtained a series of court judgments against the embattled professor, has expressed its dissatisfaction with the governor's order. In their defense, in a statement signed by the Muris of the ancestral clans of the kingdom, the Effort Combined Assembly said the case, which the government based this decision on, is in the appeal court in suit number CA/C/46/2023, where the appeal and stay of execution was properly entered. They also argue that the government's press release of 29th of February 2024 clearly contravenes the said appeal and stay of execution and should, as a matter of urgency, be reversed in the interest of justice, as someone else might be issued a certificate or recognition as a village/clan head of Effort Ukem. Now, Senator Kalu, the senator representing Abia North of the National Assembly, Oji Uzo Kalu, has commissioned more newly completed roads and school infrastructures within the district. In addition, the former chief whip has distributed about 250,000 bags of grains, flour, and Toyota Hilux vans to communities within the district. You'll recall that earlier this year, Kalu handed over security patrol vehicles, which he personally procured to Ohafia Isukwato Nigbere Bende local government area command of the police force in Abia North, as well as the Igbere vigilante group. Kalu, whose service has continuously attracted accolades amongst community members and stakeholders, admonished his constituents to shun crime and other forms of violence. The Chairman Senate Committee on Privatization has also, as a follow-up to tackle hunger occasioned by the nation's economic crisis, distributed a total of 250,000 bags of rice, beans and gari to its constituents drawn from the 5 local government areas of the state. Now, the former Abia governor has, since the beginning of the year, commissioned newly constructed and renovated infrastructure such as schools, roads, and cottage industry. Some of the notable roads include the completed and delivered long-awaited roads at Amoba, 6 kilometers, Itumbunuzo, Uguazo, Akama, 2 kilometers, Uburuhe, Ndinyabam, all in Arochukwu local government area of the senatorial district, among others. Let's go to Bayelsa State, where the governor, Senator Doye Diri, has emphasized the invaluable contributions of core members to community development. Governor Diri made this known during the closing ceremony of the 2024 Batch A Stream 1 orientation course, represented by Grace Tarinabo Alagua. He highlighted the role of the core members in executing vital community projects and monitoring young citizens. Members of Governor Dewey also assured that their security and welfare are top priority and urged all stakeholders to support them. Similarly, the coordinator for the NYSC in the state, Mrs. Okpalifo Obiageli Charity, praised the cooperation and discipline of core members. Governor also assured that further for their security and welfare are top priority and urged all stakeholders to support them. Similarly, the coordinator of the NYC in the state, Okpalifo Obiageli Charity, praised the cooperation and discipline of the core members and officials, urging them to fulfill their duties diligently and contribute to national progress. She further emphasized the importance of patriotism and self-reliance while commending the ongoing support from the state government and appealed for the timely completion of additional facilities at the camp. Sponsor of the aviation training in Bayelsa State, Ezekiel Group of Company, has said only Ezekiel Kariai and Yebie Belate Mabere were selected out of the 155 candidates that sat for the aviation exam set by the United States of America Aviation College. The examination was held at the ICT Center at Federal University of Otueke, Bayelsa State. And up next will be the big story, and we will be right back. Please stay tuned. Back now on the big story today, we will be looking at President Tinubu's policy reforms in the oil and gas sector that we told you about that will no doubt benefit the Niger Delta region. And joining the conversation is the National Coordinator, Niger Delta Youth Council Worldwide, Engineer Jato Arbido, and spokesperson, Ijo Youth Council, Bradford Berefa. Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome. Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Mr. Bedford, you're welcome. Mr. Jato, you're welcome.
Yeah, good morning. I can hear you. Good morning.
Now, let's go straight to it. Do you see these streamlined actions contradicting the process of beneficial for fostering economic activities in the Niger Delta region? By this, I mean the President's recent directive. Mr. Bedford. Mr. Bedford, can you hear me? Mr. Bedford, are you there?
Yeah, can you repeat
So-
what you said? I can't hear you clearly. What was the question, please?
I had asked Mr. Bedford that the streamlining the directive, especially from the recent news we talked about, which has to do with the reforms in the oil and gas sector that will benefit the region. I had asked that, do you see this streamlined action contradicting processes, as beneficial for fostering economic activities in the Niger Delta region?
All right. I kudos to the government of today, for this reform in the oil and gas sector. It has been long overdue, but of course, as Niger Delta people, we have our own reservation in the sense that all the agencies and parastatals that were mentioned. I don't know if it was an obvious omission. The host community were not included in as part of the process. To think tank the reforms, possible reforms that will be beneficial to the people. Of course, the Niger Delta people are the end user, particularly the oil producing communities, are the end points to every other reform, because that is where the oil and gas facility emanates from. So of course there should be that inclusion. It's a welcome development. However, there should be inclusion of the host community as part of the process in effective reform in the oil and gas sector. It is a welcome development. Thank you.
Let me also ask, do you think the reduction of, contradicting procedures to 6 months affects investments? I'm referring to you now, Mr. Jato, investments in the oil and gas sector.
Can you?
So,
I can barely hear you.
can you hear me?
I can barely hear you.
Let me repeat the question again. I had asked Mr. Jato, but Mr. Bedford, if you can hear me, you can attempt to answer the question as well. The reduction of contradicting procedures, especially with this directive, do you think that it will affect investment in the oil and gas sector?
Can you repeat your question again?
I don't know if you got me, sir. I asked if the reduction of contradicting procedures, from the recent directive of the president to 6 months, if it's going to affect investment in the oil and gas sector.
If the return of hostility.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Again.
Well, the recently signed, policy, the reforms in the oil and gas sector, from the recently signed directive of the president, I had asked, I don't know if we're having technical issues there, but I had asked you, Mr. Jato, if the reduction of contradicting procedures to 6 months if it will affect investments in the oil and gas sector, especially in the region?
But the truth is that the Nigerian Delta people, a lot of presidents have come and gone. We have a PIB that have been passed. This reform are usually different kinds of paper, but implementation is what is affecting the system. Okay, now you're talking about the fiscal. You're talking about the fiscal development, the reform. Exactly everything that was signed by the president yesterday, executive order, we are all enshrined in the PIB. But as it stands now, the 90% that people are not benefiting. The 30% that we even kicked against that was part of the PIB it has not been implemented. The 90% that people are not benefiting in these things. Okay, now we are even talking about relocation of the IOCs that will give birth to employment of the Nigerian people. Till today, nothing has been done about it. So to us, whatever policies that the government are coming about with, they are not sincere. They are not sincere. You understand? When you're talking about development, when you're talking about investment that will better the life of the Nigerian people, and you're talking about the local content policies that is to be benefited, that the Nigerian people are to benefit from it directly. These things are not, the government are not sincere, because when you're talking about implementation, the 30% that was even picked against before the Senate of the Nigerian went about to pass the bill. How can you say that the host community will get 30% while the people without no oil will get 30%? You understand? So the truth is that on our part, we in the Nigerian people are trying our possible best to support the government to succeed. But we are always being disenfranchised. We're not making you come out to implement policies in the piece of papers, you pass deals, you give executive orders, but when it comes to implementation, it's nothing. The Nigerian people, they are agreeing. They are seriously agreeing. Because come out, the government still remain the same. At the end of it all, the international community will believe that things are going well with the people of the Nigerian region.
Mr. Jato, let me come to Mr. Berefa. Mr. Berefa, how do these legislative amendments and fiscal incentives in the oil and gas sector benefit ex-agitators and their communities, Mr. Berefa? Mr. Berefa, did you hear me? Okay, so the question I asked is, these legislative amendments that we're hearing about and the fiscal incentives in the oil and gas sector, how will it benefit ex-agitators and their communities?
All right, it is like the last figures said. Of course, if some of these reforms that have been done year in, year out, every situation, I think 50% of the reforms are being implemented, in Niger Delta. The situation would have improved much more than this. Of course, we say we are sitting on the advantage and incentives. It's welcome development, the reforms of implementing people on paper. The government has and they are stopping the PI Act. If that PI Act against all is making it connected. So the issue of being agreed, the issue of being implemented, the issue of being marginalized is not the past. Of course, like I said earlier, those communities, stakeholders in the Niger Delta, beyond government particular, beyond governmental representation, those people that have been agitating the IYC the Youth Progressive Union, and every other stakeholders in the Niger Delta should be called on a roundtable. And this executive order should be followed step for step so as in the implementation of beneficial not just the Niger Delta, there is a need for stakeholders engagement, there is a need for host community engagement, there is a need for strategic engagement for the reforms and the progressive renewal agenda of the president so that in full speed and become that.
Conversation. I'll ask your parting shot to begin with you before I go to Mr. Jato. Do you foresee any challenge, as it were, with the implementation of the President Tinubu's directive, especially with the ensuring local content requirements and maintenance of cost, competitiveness? I mean, even with the collaboration with the various government bodies, do you foresee challenges in that area as your parting shot?
All right, okay, now I'm talking the inclusion of local content, that okay, local content involves content, I don't see any challenge, but if it is done in the secrecy and few persons are called and say and the thing is not thrown open to the entire for the participation of all the stakeholders in Nigeria, then your challenge, then your issue. But if this implementation, everybody is called down to understanding the local content and involved engagement, and everybody this problem is big as being any problem that will manage from this people agenda from this policy of local content. I don't foresee any challenges if every person has been brought and every eye has been brought. Every stakeholder is brought up to speed.
Thank you, Mr. Bedford Berefa. Mr. Bedford Berefa, at this juncture, I must thank you very much. Spokesperson, Ijaw Youth Council, Mr. Bedford Berefa. And by extension, I also want to thank the coordinator, Niger Delta Youth Council Worldwide, Engineer Jato Debo. Thank you, gentlemen, for giving us your time. We will continue to discuss this as well as other developments in the Niger Delta region. Thank you again, gentlemen. Okay. And that's a wrap on the program this morning. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I am Ike Chikujiwe. Do continue to enjoy the rest of our program. Bye for now.